Good morning, everyone. If I could have councillors take their seats, we're ready to start. Good morning, everybody. We're ready to start. If I could have councillors take their seats. Now I know what Francis Nunziata goes through. Okay, well, we're starting. Good morning, everybody. My name is Councillor James Pasternak. I'm the Chair of North York Community Council. We have quorum, and I'm calling meeting 27 to order. First order of business is congratulating the Toronto Blue Jays on their success last night. A great athletic achievement. It was great. Although we're meeting in different locations today, North York Community Council would like to acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississauga of the Credit. Today's meeting is being held by video conference. It's being live streamed online at YouTube/Toronto City Council Live. If you're registered to speak at today's meeting, please listen for me to call your name. I'll call speakers in the order that they appear on the list. The list of speakers can be viewed online by visiting North York Community Council page at toronto.ca/council, clicking the speakers box for today's meeting. Members, City Clerk has provided all agenda materials at toronto.ca/council on the CMP, the Clerk's meeting portal. Clerk's IT and staff are available to members if they need help with their devices. Are there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? I see none. May I have a motion to confirm the minutes from our meeting of September 17th, 2025? Councillor Cole, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we're going to do a run-through of the agenda. 27.1, Becky Cheung Court, parking regulations. I don't have speakers on it. Councillor Cheung?
I believe a motion has been submitted.
Okay, the motion is on the screen. Did you want to?
Yes, I want to move this motion.
You want to just briefly describe what that is?
So basically, it's prohibiting parking in one area of the road and allowing it in one area, and it's a conveyance of the road to the city.
Okay, and one question for the mover. Has it been vetted by staff?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item number 2, NY 27.2, 245 to 251 Marlee Avenue. I do not have speakers on the item. Hold. Item 27.3, 340 to 472 Lawrence Heights Way and 2 to 66 Green Gardens Boulevard. Part lot control exemption application, decision report approval. No, there are no speakers on the item. 27.4, series of addresses on Bayview Avenue. I'm going to hold that for speakers. 27.5, 850 to 858 York Mills Road. I do not have speakers on the item. Is Councillor Burnside online? Well, I'm going to move it on his behalf, and if he joins the meeting and wants to reopen, I'd be happy to support a motion to reopen. All those in favor of adopting the staff recommendations, unless someone wants to hold it? Councillor Burnside, welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to move staff recommendations.
All right. Okay, staff recommendations moved on 27.5. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item number 6, we'll hold for speakers. Series of addresses on Hendon Avenue. Item number 7, Finch, 591 Finch Avenue West, that is in my ward. I will move the staff recommendations. It's a construction staging area. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Number 8, 4800 Yonge Street Encroachment Agreement, TTC Pedestrian Tunnel.
I'd like to hold
Council-
this item, please. Thank you.
Okay, and I do not see any speakers on the item. Item number 9, Lawrence Avenue East, Underhill Drive, Railside Road, Pedestrian Crossing Protection. Councillor,
Move staff recommendations.
staff recommendations moved. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And Councillor Chernoslin, I'm looking out for your items, 4 and 15 and 14. Okay. $27.9, Lawrence Avenue East, Underhill. Sorry, we did that one already. Number 10, 1225 York Mills Road, designation of fire routes. Councillor Burnside?
Staff recommendations.
Staff recommendations moved. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item 11, Adra Grado Way and Okra Tomar Crescent, parking amendments. It's Councillor Carroll. Okay, there's a motion pending, and Councillor Carroll, I assume, is on her way. I'll hold it down on her behalf. 2712, changes to business improvement area boards of management. Item number 13, Lynedock Crescent, amending speed limits.
Move staff recommendations.
Staff recommendations moved. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Now, under, let me just see, 14. 14, we're going to move, oh, let me see. We do have a speaker. We're going to hold the item. Councillor Chernoslin has asked that her items be moved to the top of the agenda, so we'll try and figure that out too. Item number 15, Bayview Avenue Traffic Review. I do have a speaker on the item, so we will hold that. Okay, sorry. The speaker is for Ward 15, not item 15. So, Councillor Chernoslin, we're going to take item number 4 and 15 and combine them. Is that your request?
Yes, I would like that because they, 2715 deals directly with one of the challenges with, to deal with one of the challenges brought about by that development in the first item. So I just would like them taken together.
Do you want to release 15, or you want to hold it for debate?
As long as I can speak to both items together, that's fine. I don't think we have a speaker on,
Okay.
do we have a speaker on item 15? No.
On 15, no.
Okay. So we can't really release it if we're doing them together, I don't.
Okay, so you'd like to just combine them. Okay, so what we'll do, if it's the will of committee, at the request of Councillor Chernoslin, we're going to combine items number 4 and 15. And 4 is a timed item. So we'll move that to the top of the agenda, okay?
And then I also wondered if I could impose on the committee to do item number 2714 after the timed items. Just move it to the top of the non-timed items.
That's fine with me. Any comments from committee? I think that's fine, adjusting the agenda. So if we're going to do 27.4, it's going to be our first item. It is a timed item for 9:30. We have a series of deputants, and we should start on that right away. So, Eric Q. Online? No? Okay. Angela Hugh, I assume they're related? No? Okay, we'll come back to them in a few minutes. Courtney Heron Monk? Courtney Huron Monk? There we go. Great, thank you for joining us. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of Community Council. My name is Courtney Heron Monk. I'm a registered professional planner with Bousfield, who is the planning consultant to the owner of the properties known as 2425 to 2427 Bayview Avenue and 1 the Bridle Path. I'm joined here today both in person and virtually by members of the ownership team, as well as Ken Chan of LEA Consulting, who is the transportation consultant who was retained on the file. On behalf of the owners and the applicant team, I want to first start by thanking staff for all their hard work in bringing the application forward and for their collaboration throughout the process. The proposed official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment before you today represents an important opportunity to permit the redevelopment of a vacant parcel along Bayview Avenue with a well-designed 6-story residential building comprised of 56 residential units. This proposal builds on previous approvals for additional housing on the site and is a direct response of the city's evolving housing policies, including the Expanding Housing Options in Neighborhoods initiative, reflecting a commitment to context-sensitive intensification along major streets. The proposed development will deliver a range of unit sizes with an emphasis on family-friendly housing, with 29% of the units designed as 2 bedrooms and 60% of the units designed as 3 bedrooms. As well, the proposal will make meaningful contributions to the public realm by introducing new street trees along both street frontages and a new public park at the intersection of Bayview Avenue and the Bridle Path. Throughout the application process, we have worked closely with city planning and engineering and construction services staff, and we have engaged with the local community to refine the proposal. The revised design addresses concerns related to built form and compatibility with the surrounding context, while advancing the city's housing goals as expressed through the EHON Major Streets policies. We recognize that traffic is a key concern for area residents. The development includes 122 parking spaces, which is consistent with other nearby developments, and will minimize spillover into the neighborhood. As noted in the staff report, the traffic impact study prepared by LEA was reviewed by staff and found to be acceptable. We are in support of the recommendations of community planning, which recommend approval of the proposed amendments. And I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the deputant? No? Okay, thank you very much. Hassam Gadaki? Thank you for joining us. You have 5 minutes.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I won't take up very much time. I just wanted to thank the consulting team and the city departments and staff that we've been working with, members of the community that we've been meeting with and listening to. It's been a really great relationship working together, and I'm here just to ensure that our gratitude is shared with all involved, and that we're very proud of where we've arrived, and we've got a lot of work to do to bring this community to life. and we're ready to do that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I just have one question. What's the context of your role? Are you a local resident? Are you part of Boostfields? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have introduced myself. My name is Hassam Gadaki. I'm the general counsel at Times Group. Times Group's a family development firm founded by my father and uncles, and so I'm here representing the developer and the family behind the developer. Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's what I thought. Didn't sound like a local residence, that's for sure. Okay, thank you for your comments. Just other deputants, if you could clarify your context when you're speaking. Now, when it came to the Boostfields representative, that was not listed on the clerk's list here as a representative of the applicant. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kenneth Chan? Context, please.
Absolutely. We're the traffic consultant. We're just registered in case there's any question that needs to be answered to the public.
Okay. So this is a traffic consultant to the applicant. Are there any questions for the deputant? No? Okay, thank you very much. Sipand Mezgarazda? Yep. Sipand?
So, Mr. Speaker, Sipand won't be making a deputation.
Won't be?
No.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Mr. Mezagazada, do you still want to speak? Are you representing the applicant or?
Sorry,
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Mr. Speaker, I think just to avoid any confusion, a few members of our team are watching, but they won't be making deputation. So Mr.
Hello?
Zahn is also.
Okay, he is on the list, but I don't know if you speak on his behalf. So, does he want to talk or no? I don't know who he is.
Hello?
Sipand?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Did you want to? Are you a deputant or?
Yes, I represent Times Group. I just wanted to thank everybody and echo Hassan's comments, and I'm here to answer any questions regarding the project, if there are any.
Okay, councilors, this is. It seems like he's on the applicant's team. Are there any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. Now, I have a Hamid Gadaki. Hamid Gadaki. No? Okay. I'll go back to Eric Hugh. Okay. Mr. Hugh? Oh, Mr. Gadaki?
Good morning, members of council. I'm here on behalf of the developer, Times Group, if there are any questions for me.
Okay. So, councilors, the person online is a representative of the applicant. Are there any questions? Like, maybe why is he online or why is he deputing? Okay, thank you very much. No questions. We'll go back to the top. Eric Hugh or Angela Hugh? Okay. Okay, deputations are cut off. Questions for staff? No questions for staff? Okay, speakers. Councillor Chernos-Lynn?
Thank you. So I do have a motion that I'd like to put on the screen that relates to 2715. It relates to both of them, but it's for item number 2715, which we're looking at together with this item.
Yes, yes, we did combine the items when we did the order paper.
Okay.
Items 4 and 15 are being debated right now.
Okay,
So you could,
so I have an associated motion that I'm hoping will be, oh, wait, sorry, it was on there. So I wonder if we could just pull that up for anyone to see it. Is that possible?
should go on the screen, yes.
Okay. So this development has caused some concern in the community in terms of, particularly with respect to the way the traffic works, the entry and exit of the development. It goes onto a small side street, and there is no light at this spot on Bayview, but the traffic on Bayview is very significant, particularly at rush hour. And when there isn't really massive amounts of traffic, there are also vehicles traveling at high speeds. So what we've asked is for staff to conduct a travel study, a traffic study at least, for Bayview to consider, just wondering if we can, thank you. If we just keep it down, thanks.
I do apologize. Councillor Burnside has been distracting me, but it will stop.
Okay, thank you. There is significant traffic along Bayview, particularly at rush hour, and when there isn't significant traffic, there are vehicles traveling at high speeds. There are a number of developments coming along Bayview, so we think this is an important time to do a comprehensive study from Post Road up to York Mills, looking at whether we need some additional traffic controls in that area. And this is something that the residents have raised with the developer on this item. They've raised it with our office. A number of residents have raised this. The Canadian Film Centre has raised this. It's challenging to turn out of their driveways. So I think it's time that we do that. So and it's important that we look at the function of our roads, I would say proactively in this sense, to ensure that any necessary adjustments can be made. And I want to thank the York Mills Residents Association. They've been really proactive on this file and on a number of different issues. And I understand also that a letter has been submitted on the item by the York Mills Residents Ratepayers Association. And so I hope that staff will consider their letter as they undertake this work, should this motion pass. And I want to thank the community members for their work on this item. I know they've worked with the developer particularly to try to improve this development and considering how it fits in with the neighborhood and with their neighbors. And I'm hopeful that this additional piece that we're adding on today will yield some important and tangible improvements to promote the safe and efficient flow of traffic through this area along Bayview and along entry and exit points along Bayview. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chernos. Lynn?
Mr. Chair, it's
Yeah.
Councillor Carroll.
Yes, would you like to speak on the item?
I have a question about the motion. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't know they were combined. I was having trouble logging in. And now I'm logging in such a way that I can't put my hand up when I want to speak. I finally found a way in. But I do have a question about the motion. I think it's a question of staff.
Oh, well, we would vary the procedure and go back to questions of staff. Is that your request?
Yeah, it's just a quick one. I'm wondering.
Okay, so, councillors, we're going to go back to questions of staff at the request of Councillor Carroll. So, Councillor Carroll, go ahead. Questions for staff.
I appreciate your indulging me because I had such trouble logging on. I'm wondering about this motion. With all the development going on along the street, if doing this study, this is a study on a major avenue, which is different than studying in a neighborhood street. I'm wondering if any attempt was made to negotiate, put a letter of credit on file or something in any of these developments to deal with traffic studies, at the time of approval or into the future, given that they all impact Bayview.
Through the chair, I'm seeking clarification on the question.
Sorry, I beg your pardon?
So did you not hear the question or? Okay, Councillor Carroll, could you just synthesize what you're asking?
Well, what I'm asking, who's going to pay for this study? Bayview Avenue, really from Eglinton all the way to York Mills, has development on it, unanticipated. So there have been traffic impacts all along. Why are we not negotiating developer absorbing, multiple developers absorbing the cost of this? That's been the pattern in the past. That's what we did along Don Mills Road when Elad was doing a massive development. We filed letters of credit for anticipated impacts of traffic into the future and so on and so forth. We have items today of developments on Bayview that impact Bayview. Are we asking them to absorb the cost of some of the traffic studies that are necessary?
Through the chair, this particular applicant has not been asked to subsidize the study. However, we can look into that moving forward for future applicants.
Sorry, I'm struggling to hear the answer. The microphone they're a bit muffled. So what I'm hearing, did I hear the answer correctly? We haven't asked any of the developments along Bayview to pay for this. We can only do so in the future.
That is correct.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. Okay. I would like to speak to the item then, Mr. Chair.
I believe this item would go directly to staff, and the recommendations that would come back here would go to council. Okay, so Councillor Carroll would like to speak.
No, question.
Councillor Burnside, questions for staff.
Thanks. Yeah, so what sort of fruit are these studies supposed to yield? Like, it seems like we have a ton of studies, and I don't know, traffic doesn't seem to be getting much better to me. So, like, it's study after study, and to what end? And what on Bayview could you actually do? I mean, there's a volume problem. I get the speed problem and whatnot, but I'm trying to understand the point of all these studies.
Yeah, through the chair, it's David Sitt. I'll try to answer the question. I mean, certainly the study in this situation, because of where Bridle Path is coming out onto Bayview, I would see if the study were to be looking at whether or not we need to do any kind of traffic signals at the intersection, that could help with the flow of the traffic onto Bayview and determine if there's any opportunities to improve any kind of turn signals or anything like that in the area.
So there's no traffic light at that particular
No,
spot,
there isn't.
Okay, so basically it's about whether we put a traffic signal in.
I think that's one component specific to this application. So keep in mind, this application is for 56 units.
Right.
The traffic information that was undertaken here was looking at, during peak hours, 16 to 17 cars leaving the site during peak hours. So I think in part to answer the question about why a study wasn't asked for this particular application, the traffic that is being generated by this application is fairly marginal, even though it is coming out onto Bridle Path. But I understand the broader motion about traffic traveling on Bayview being quite significant.
Yeah, but so then I'm kind of confused, along with Councillor Carroll, but probably for different reasons. So if it's a marginal traffic impact, why are we studying whether we need traffic signals? No, hold on. Right? So like you're adding 56 units and now we're going to have a study about whether we put in traffic signals. Isn't this part of, back to Councillor Carroll's thing, isn't this part of a larger issue? And then normally when you have a development, and I get it that it's small 56 units, that's part of the traffic study done by the developer.
Yeah.
So I'm like really confused.
So I think through the chair, I would say, you know, this is obviously one application. There's other applications along Bayview, and I suspect the reason Councillor Cheung is bringing forward the motion is to anticipate the future growth that will be happening along Bayview Avenue in addition to this application, because we are dealing with other proposals up and down this stretch.
Oh, so Last question, I know I'm going over. So a traffic signal has to be put in before? Can't be put in after, once you understand? Like, problem with these traffic studies is they're looking into the future and they may or may not be accurate. So normally you would, and for traffic signals, you'd say, okay, there are certain warrants. Here's what's going on. We need a traffic signal, as opposed to here's what might go on. Like, I just am cognizant or aware of these costs, that I'm not sure
Yeah,
if
through the chair,
it's a good use of money.
I wouldn't say that absolutely a traffic signal is going to go in. I said that's why the purpose would be to study if there's a need for something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bernstein. Councillor Chernos-Lynn, are we back to questions for
This is a
staff?
question for staff.
Okay.
Just, I want to confirm, can you confirm, is this motion, does it ask specifically for you to look just at this one light at Bridle Path? Or is it asking for a broader look at a longer stretch of Bayview? I just want to make sure everybody's aware, from York Mills to Post Road, which is a significantly long stretch where there are a number of developments coming in the future that we are starting to get applications for.
Yeah, through the chair, you are correct, Councillor. The motion speaks to the stretch between Post Road to York Mills.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Chernos-Lynn. Councillor Cheung?
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm just wondering the cost of such a study. What would the cost be for this kind of study?
I would probably defer to my transportation colleagues. The cost of the study?
Through the chair, uncertain at this time.
Okay. And does Bayview Avenue currently have smart signals that sense traffic and communicate with each other?
Through the chair, I would have to follow up on that. I'm not aware.
Because I just note that Bayview is also problematic at Bayview and Shepherd. And so I'm just wondering if smart signal solutions could be explored for an even longer stretch of Bayview, because it really is a problem street and smart signals could potentially improve the situation. Has it ever been analyzed for that?
Through the chair, I am not aware if it has or has not. I would have to look into it.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
I just have a couple of questions. Isn't it hard to predict in these studies how many people will use their own automobile and how many will use public transit once they move in and into the neighborhood? It's almost impossible to predict, or do you have models that can predict?
Through the chair, the applicant's consultant would provide the numbers, and we would have to do our due diligence to ascertain whether they're accurate or not. So the modeling that they would present, we would have to confer with our data as well to see if there's correlation and support it or request further study.
I mean, I find that transit hubs, particularly around Tippett and Wilson Station, we built that community because it was at a subway station, and it's still gridlock. So is there no modeling on figuring out what percentage of people will take public transit and what people will use their own personal vehicles?
Through the chair, I would have to look into that.
Okay. Would it be safe to conclude that in these transit studies, unless you're doing major sort of engineering and restructuring work, you're really not going to change traffic flow? You need right-hand turn lanes, you need street widening, you need TTC bus jump lanes. Wouldn't it be correct to assume that unless you're going to go down that road, pardon the pun, really traffic congestion is a part of life in the city, and there's little we can do about it other than building more high-level transit?
Through the chair, we are encouraging multimodal transportation, including cycling as well as public transit Hopefully, throughout the process, we'll encourage more residents to be using multimodal transportation, and single occupant vehicle travel will be reduced.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Speakers?
Yes, please.
Councillor Carroll?
Yes. So, I'm going to support the motion because the study needs to be done. But I have to note my disappointment that cumulatively, we have not been collecting along this stretch dollars towards the eventual traffic impact. Even if there's a small number of units in a development, you do try and deal with the cumulative impact of a node of development. And this was never meant to be a node of development. It has become one over time, albeit high end and lower density. But this low density development of 56 units is providing 122 parking spaces. 106 of them for the residents. So we're expecting these units not to be reducing car travel. These are high-end units, so we expect there to be a minimum of 2 cars per unit, and families that are going to be pulling both those cars out of the garage and driving them around. And so I'm really kind of disappointed to hear that there hadn't been a strategy up until now to start accumulating the ability to deal with traffic impacts by, even if it was 40 or 50 grand per development, to be accumulating a fund towards traffic impacts. Just makes sense, and it's not precedent setting. It's what we've done in the past. And so that this needs to be happening along Bayview. Bayview is a major road. And so to do a proper study from Post to Lawrence, and then to put, if the result of the study is even one signalized intersection, you're probably talking about $500,000 by the time those lights are turning off and on, red, green, and yellow. And so developers should be contributing to that. Perhaps the one sitting here today waiting for his approval, but also any future development between Post Road and Lawrence, because this was not meant to be a development node, and it's turning into a higher end, low density, but multi-unit development node at the front of the street. And that is a problem for such things as institutions like the CFC. It is a problem for the flow that we have of traffic that needs to get all the way from the valley up to the 401. And so I certainly hope that going forward, that's going to be something that we negotiate in future developments. But be that as it may, we do need the study. And so I'll support the councillor's motion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other speakers on this item? No? Do you want to hold the item down, Councillor? Okay. Okay. The local councillor would like to make a couple of changes. So we're going to hold the item down and go to item 6.
Which item are you holding down?
We're going to go to item 6. A series of addresses on Hendon Avenue. I have 2 deputations. Jeff Matthews. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Matthews. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Just for clarity's sake, councillors, we've held items 4 and 15 down, and we are now on item number 6, a series of addresses on Hendon Avenue.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair and fellow members of council. My name is Jeff Matthews, and I represent the applicant for 41 Hendon Avenue. and I also lead the development group with Capital Developments. I felt it important to provide a brief background on the project today, highlighting the efforts and collaboration between our group, the community, planning staff, and Councillor Cheung's office. I think it was through this collaboration that enabled the parties to reach agreement on the proposal itself, which is the subject of a staff report today recommending approval. Capital's always provided itself in delivering exceptional projects, and it's been focused primarily around transit stations, in this case, North York Centre. We're a familiar face in North York Centre as well, having developed Azura condominiums, all of residences, which is just finishing construction as we speak. And I think these are important projects to note because they're ones that focus on the quality of design, be it architectural excellence or environmental stewardship. Those are core guiding principles for our firm. The approach we're going to be taking at 41 Hendon will be no different. Since we acquired the site in late 24, early 25, we have had an overt level of outreach with the community. And it started with an open house in May, well before we even filed our application, so that we could gauge community feedback, understand concerns, understand what they liked, things we might want to change. And we did all that working closely with the community planning staff and Councillor Cheung's office. I think it's important to note that because this all preceded our formal community consultation, which we had in late July, and subsequent to that, separate private meetings with other members of the community. Being approximately 200 yards from the Finch subway station, it's located in a PMTSA and a block from the forthcoming North York at the Centre secondary plan, which has identified the site as being suitable for a tall building. So it really became a question of how a tall building could best integrate with the surrounding built form and plan context, and it resulted in us finalizing design on a point tower anchored by a 3-story podium with an exceptional degree of quality placed in the public realm. Concerns over setbacks of the tower, the overall height, as well as resident parking were raised, and we addressed each and every one of them. We reduced the overall tower height from an initial application of 41 down to 38, down to 34 stories, more or less in line with the existing built form context right beside us at 15 Greenview Avenue, but with a much smaller floor plate, half the floor plate of that building. We also increased setbacks significantly, and they meet the prescribed tall building guidelines, and we doubled the amount of parking as we earned that was a concern from residences. So early on in the process, public realm improvements were also a key concern, and there's a beautiful asset nearby, Hendon Park, and that really came into focus on what we might do to be able to improve that park. So we started early collaboration with the community staff and Councillor Cheung's office on what we might be able to do in which we could directly or indirectly improve the park itself. It's such a heart of the community, and we want to be able to help contribute to making the community even better, and we see Hendon Park as a means to achieve that. So it's our intent to provide an in-kind community benefit contribution to the maximum value that we're able to for our site to improve the park itself, with particular attention on the field house. And we also remain committed to working with staff, Councillor Cheung's office, and others to provide a parkland contribution in kind for further enhancements to the park, or at a minimum, at least payment of cash in lieu. I'll just close with a few statements here. We're a builder with a committed track record in North York. We build. We don't buy land and speculate and sell. We are a community builder, and that's proven in the projects that we've committed and delivered in the North York community. And we look forward to continuing this at 41 Hendon. We'll be breaking ground on this exciting project in mid-2026 with a design that's been fully influenced and vetted by members of the community, Councillor Cheung's office, and planning staff. And we're very proud to have reached this conclusion, including landed here with a positive report recommending approval. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the deputant? Okay, thank you. James Check.
It's on. Good. Hi. I'm James Check, and I am the president of the board of directors at 25 Greenview, which is next to the development. I'm also on the shared facilities committee for the two buildings, 25 Greenview and 15 Greenview. So I have been living there since 2017, and I'm well aware of a lot of the issues that we're dealing with. As the councilors will know, we have submitted an opposition to this development, and I want to reiterate that we are still opposed for the record. And I want to talk just briefly about a couple of things. They have been already addressed to you, and we have never actually had the developer come and meet with us at our condominium about this. So that is a concern. We're dealing with a total of about 390 units for this development, plus 148 for the development north of Hendon, which is, I understand, already been approved. And this, it represents a huge increase to the number of residents. And I see, as Councillor Cheung has noted, very little development infrastructure for facilities. I heard a bit of talk about some improvements to Hendon Park. I don't exactly know what those are, but that is a major issue. So we're dealing in our community with over 800 units, and each one of them has one or more parking spots. So we've got a lot of traffic coming in and out of our condominium. And so congestion will be a major issue. I understand, and I do appreciate the fact that the number of parking units and the height has been decreased, and the number of visitor parking has been increased, because there's something like 60 parking spots total for 300, 400 units. And I understand that it is true that the application now is for rental, but I did confirm that they can change that to selling it to as a condominium at any time without having approval from the city. So congestion is a major issue. I understand that there is an extension planned to Beecroft going up to Cummer, and I guess the theory is that will decrease congestion. I think it'll increase congestion. I said that at a previous meeting, but at this point, there's nothing we can do about that, so I understand. So parking is an issue. The facilities, the infrastructure for that many more people, and there's more to come, as you know, there's more applications coming right on that same corner. This is a serious concern. So I urge council to reduce this building even further and increase the facilities that they are asked to provide, okay? I also have the question of whether or not the developer can require to, I guess, delay their development until that extension is completed and a study can be done to determine if the congestion resulting is going to negatively impact us. So those are my comments.
Okay.
Thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you for your comments. Any questions for the deputant? Councillor Cheung?
Did you attend the community consultation about this project?
There's been several of them I attended. Which one are you referring to?
The one that had city staff in attendance.
At our building?
No. It was,
You have to give me a date, because I've been to several of these.
no. So it would have been a specific meeting where city staff and the developer were together and able to answer questions about the development.
That might have been one at that community center.
Through the chair, I think the date you're referring to, Councillor, was July 26th, or 28th, sorry.
July 20th. I think I probably was there, but I'm not 100% certain. I'd have to look.
Did you hear the city staff mention what the province has planned with regard to MTSAs and the 500 to 800 meter radius around higher order transit, that where density is actually being required?
Yeah, I've seen the whole plan
Yeah.
several times already.
The province's plans?
Yes. You presented it, actually.
Right. So
It's more than once.
do you understand that staff have approved this because we are subject to provincial planning policy?
Yes, I understand that.
And have you noted as well that the applicant has decreased the height of the building in response to community feedback?
Yes, I noticed that, and it was mentioned again just a couple of minutes ago.
And so what are the remaining things? Because there are no tools to halt a development and pending some infrastructure being built. We don't have any tools to stop that from happening. And so what would given the context that we have here with the provincial planning policy, the pressure to add density around higher order transit, and staff recommending this application, which would, if we don't approve it, it will go to Ontario Land Tribunal and potentially come back as something larger and even less friendly to the community. What would you prefer the outcome to be?
Well, I'm quite distressed, actually, to learn that the Land Tribunal has now replaced the OMB, which was the appeal mechanism years ago, and I'm still not 100% certain that people who oppose development will not be able to speak at the Land Tribunal. Is that right?
Yes, it is correct. That was a provincial policy that removed the right of residents to appeal and have representation at appeals. Yes.
Yeah, well, that concerns me greatly, but you're saying basically that you're helpless here, and one of the reasons why you approve this without asking the density to be reduced or the height or anything like
Well,
that.
it has been reduced.
No, I mean further. It's still, 30-some stories, right?
But it is
Towering
very
over
close
everything.
to a subway station, so that is the pressure that we have with the province. Yeah, because it's so walkable to a subway station.
Yes, it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be walkable for people in the 25-story building too, you know. So,
Well, I thank
Anyway,
you for representing your
Okay.
residents here today, and we can talk further about
yeah.
how we can improve the park and things we can work on together.
So if I'm going to report back to my, what I constituents of 800 units,
All right, this
basically-
is a lovely chit chat,
Yep.
but let's wrap it up. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Atafe Javadi and my planning and policy advisor is there, and you can ask her questions. Unfortunately, this is
Yeah.
not a question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That's all I have for the deputations.
I just have a question of the deputant.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Sorry. Anyways, no, you brought up a very important point, and I just wanted to ask you something. Were you aware that the Ontario Municipal Board was eliminated 10 years ago?
I knew it was eliminated. I didn't know the exact date.
Have you ever talked to your member of provincial parliament who basically has voted in favor of eliminating your ability to speak at this new tribunal?
No, I haven't. Is there any advantage to me doing that?
Well, no, I think there is, because, basically, if no one complains to them when they change laws, you can't blame them. But on the other hand, I can understand why there's just so much confusion about this, because who's got time to follow 10 pieces of legislation they've passed? So I'm just asking,
That's right.
perhaps it would be a good idea to sit down and have a meeting with him.
I would do, sorry. Let me turn
That's
this
him
off.
calling now.
All right, this sounds like another chit chat.
What you're talking about here is basically, as a psychologist, we call it learned helplessness. People feel that they cannot have an impact. And one of the submissions here was from a person who said that they came again and again and again and had no impact whatsoever. So this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what, we feel the same way. But anyways, thank you, and don't give up hope.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole.
Nice note to end on.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I think we can all agree there's a democratic deficit in the city. Okay, any other questions for the deputant? And then we can go to questions for staff. No? Okay, questions for staff? Speak. Oh, Councillor Cheung.
What was the height of the original submission by Capital Development when this application came?
Through the chair, 41 stories.
And how was it negotiated to come down? What were the factors that resulted in a reduction of height?
The factors, Guy, you jump in?
I mean, Councillor, staff looked at things such as built context, other development approvals in the area, and things like that, as official plan policy would direct us.
And the deputant mentioned, concern about traffic. What are the things about this development that are included to mitigate traffic impact?
Through the chair, our transportation review team reviewed it and may be able to identify some specific things, but the applicant would have provided things like a transportation impact study for staff to review as part of the review process.
Mm-hmm. And what are the chances that if we were to refuse this application here and it goes to OLT, that it would come back smaller?
Through you, Madam Chair, we can never be sure what would happen or what the chances of anything are. In our experience, though, it's always better to work with the applicant, and we tend to get the best results when we don't do things in an adversarial manner.
Mm-hmm. And do the neighbors have a chance to oppose an application anymore? Can they hire a lawyer and organize an appeal?
Through the chair, the provincial government in the last 2 years removed the ability for residents to do third-party appeals in OLT applications. So the answer is no.
And what are some potential benefits that this development could bring to the community? What are some things that we are working on as possibilities?
Through the chair, they're providing a community POPs for local dogs to relieve themselves. They're also in discussions with staff regarding the improvement of Hendon Fieldhouse.
Great. And so when community members attend consultations and feel like their voice is not heard, their concerns are not addressed, what does planning say to community members about that feeling of frustration as new density is introduced into the community, that they are not necessarily welcoming? What is your answer to our deputant?
Through the chair, staff, when they review a development application, have to take a number of things into consideration. Obviously, community input is an important one. That's why we go beyond the requirements of the Planning Act and do additional consultation. But we have to balance that along with provincial policy, official plan policy, and other bylaw and good planning policies to achieve an overall development that we think is appropriate to recommend to council.
Thank you. And I've spoken to the applicant about adding park benches along the public realm where there will be planned tree plantings. Is this something that can be explored at site plan?
Improvements to the public realm is something that staff can evaluate more fully at the site plan control stage, yes.
Great. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you, Councillor Cheung. Any other questions for staff? Speakers? Councillor Cole.
Yes, I just want to thank the deputant there. And he represents a lot of citizens in Toronto who just have been left out of this whole process of development in their neighborhood. And it's just been overwhelming. The changes, and our staff can't keep up with the changes. Every week there's a new piece of legislation from Queen's Park with new rules, and the rules basically say the citizens can't participate, and we're going to build what we want to build. And it's great to hear, I think I heard it, I mean, this sort of tops the comments. I don't want to be critical of staff. It says, what has the developer contributed? Well, he's contributed a community pop so dogs can relieve themselves. That's about it. This is where we're at. We have very little power as a council. But on the other hand, we have councillors here at the table, like Councillor Cheung, who basically is doing everything she can to get the best possible out of a very disgusting situation. She tries everything, along with staff, trying everything. They got some number of stories lowered. They try to get some improvements dealing with traffic realities. So that's about the only powers we have. And it's still, I think, a significant role we have with staff and with members of this council to try and deal with an untenable situation. And the tragedy is that these changes have happened so rapidly, in such great scope and volume, unprecedented, that it's hard for our staff, our lawyers, anybody to keep up. Never mind, citizens are too busy with their lives to try and keep up with these changes. So, the way the system has gone down, all these laws have been changed by the province. And they don't have any hearings on this stuff. Nobody attends. There's no comments. Nobody calls their MPPs. They still call us saying, hey, why has this change occurred? We didn't make the change. They made the change on us and on you. But it's impossible to get people to understand this because it is so complex and it's so rapid and nonstop. But again, I just want to say that there is hope that we can continue to try and get some improvements, some changes that may be minor, but we still have to work on doing the best we can, as the local councillor is doing, on a daily basis. I don't know how many developments she's got in her ward in Willowdale. I mean, it's just nonstop. And look at already what is in Willowdale. You go up Yonge Street. God help us. And we're going to have more of this coming. And I know we've already approved, the City of Toronto has already approved 300,000 residential units. Already approved. 300,000 already been approved. And yet every day we're getting more applications to approve more. So God help Willowdale, and luckily you got St. Lily here helping you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Any other speakers on the item?
So we're still working on finalizing the
that-
motion. Can we hold it down and come back to it, please? We're almost done.
Okay. Okay, we're going to hold down 6, and can we go back to 4 and 15?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Councillor Carroll.
I forgot you had other items stood down. I have one that you graciously held for me. Maybe after Councillor Chernoslin, if we could go to 11, my referral motion is ready.
Okay, sure. Let's,
Thanks.
we have a couple of quick items here that we can finish up. Item number 4, I believe, Councillor Chernos-Lynn, did you want to move your motion?
So what I'd like to do is move item number 27.4 without recommendations to council.
Okay,
And
Councillor.
that will give staff time to work with the applicant to consider some of the things we've discussed today. And then I'd like to move item number 15.
Okay. Item number 15 deferred to the next.
No, I'm not going to defer it. I'm going to just move it. After discussions with staff.
Okay, so let's do one at a time.
Thank you.
On the motion to send item number 4 to council, this is a series of addresses on Bayview Avenue to council without recommendation. The motion was on the screen. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, Councillor Chernos-Lynn, we're not deferring 15. You're moving the staff recommendations.
Correct.
With your letter.
Correct.
Okay, so that's taken as a package. The staff recommendations plus the local councilor's letter are being adopted. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So I'm going to do, Councillor Carroll, that was item 11. You're prepared to release that?
Well, with the referral motion.
Okay.
You held it for me, and the clerks have a referral motion.
Okay, so let's dispose of that. Then we'll go to 14.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is Councillor
Thank you.
Carroll.
Just briefly. Sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So did you want to introduce your motion? Go ahead.
Well, it's not an introduction. If we're considering item number 11, this is my motion on it. So we can go right to the motion. I don't need an introduction motion.
Okay.
Right.
This is a
So,
referral motion.
Just briefly, I'm referring this back because we don't have quite the cooperation with the Toronto Community Housing for this solution to work. We haven't got that quite yet. So I'm just referring it back to staff so they can have another conversation with us there and with TCHC, and hopefully it'll be back to the very next Community Council.
Okay, councillors, this is a referral motion back to staff. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item number 14, and we have one deputation on it. Jeff Cattell. So item 14 is a new Don Valley Trail connection to Glassworks Drive. And I have one deputation. Jeff Cattell? No? Okay. Questions for staff? This is Councillor Chernos-Lynn. Question for staff?
I don't
No?
have any questions for staff, but I do have an amendment.
Okay, we'll get to speakers in a second. Any other questions for staff from other councillors? No? No? Okay, speakers, Councillor Chernos-Lynn.
Thank you. I have an amendment that we worked on with staff, and it provides an updated timeline as well as some technical changes. And this was necessary because the broader trail network plan requested through the motion will require more time than we had initially allocated for this. So Glassworks Drive is a portion of road located between the eastern end of Vanderhoof Avenue and the ravine system of the Don Valley. And originally it was planned as a north-south connection between Vanderhoof Avenue and Eglinton Avenue East. The street was never finished, and now due to grade and soil condition as well as staff have advised it really isn't ideal for a road. And they have, through other developments, secured alternative connecting streets to the west. And so our office was advised that the completion of Glassworks Drive was no longer feasible. And as someone who always likes to salvage a disappointing situation, I do note that this area has experienced and is experiencing significant growth, but there isn't an easy trail connection for good accessible biking and walking into the ravine system. here, and of course, we want to encourage active travel as much as possible, and we know that we've heard from a number of residents that they'd like to have better connections into the Don Valley. What we thought was that Glassworks Drive would stand as a dead-end street in Leaside, but had the potential to serve as a really great connection to the Don Valley Trail network. It would be a strong asset for the community, particularly with the delivery of a multi-use trail along the north side of Vanderhoof Avenue that's contemplated in the Laird and Focus studies. And this is especially important, as I said, given the intensity of development in the area. These residents will need convenient access to the recreational space that the Don Valley provides. Additionally, in response to feedback I've received from the Leaside Residents Association, I think that's probably what Jeff Cattell had registered for, I'm requesting that staff undertake planning for improvements to connecting trails in the area. Toronto's ravines and trail network are some of our greatest assets, and a new connection would be beneficial and would enhance trails in Leaside significantly and benefit the community in so many different ways. So I'm hoping we can get this motion passed. Thank you.
Any questions for the mover? So this, your new motion changes the distance of the motion and where it goes from A to B, because I guess the original motion takes it runs the trail adjacent to Wilka Creek in Don Valley from the Glassworks, the end of the Glassworks Drive. And you're changing that to a different Vanderhoof? I lost the motion.
Well, I think what we'd just like to see, there is the provision through all of these new developments that are being built along Vanderhoof. They're doing a trail along that. So we just want to make sure that this is eventually connected up with that as they're looking at the feasibility of that to make sure that it's all connected. It's really like a matter of a block where there isn't brand new development. So just making sure that that's connected, that there's strong signage, all those kind of things. And then it also pushes the timeline just a little bit further to allow for that work to be done.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, is there a funding source for this? Section money?
Not at this point, but
Parks
certainly this is just a feasibility report. So down the road, that can certainly be contemplated.
Okay. All right, the motion is before us. It amends the report. Sorry,
Mr.
Councillor
Speaker, can I
Carroll,
just speak to
are
it
you
briefly?
voting or do you want to speak to the item?
I was wondering if I could just speak to it briefly.
Okay, Councillor Carroll?
I just want to caution, I'll vote for this motion, but I just want to caution that when we add to the study and then begin to generalize it, we really have turned it into a major piece of work. And so at that point, it's not as affordable as it might immediately seem. Perhaps I have trouble taking my budget hat off at this point because we're right in the thick of it right now. But I just want to point out that while the community wanted one thing, as soon as you broaden it, you really have come close to doubling the cost of even just doing the feasibility piece. And so, you run the risk of running into we will do that study when we have the funding for it. And so it's important that while we can vote for it, we have to make clear to the community as we broaden it to make it a bigger piece of work, it will be when staff can afford to fit it into their work plan. It won't be considered as urgently as perhaps the more narrow motion was. That's just the reality of our financial situation.
Yes, thank you, Budget Chief Carroll, for that cautionary note. The only thing I would add to that is we've been looking at a short connection from a trail, TRCA lands, to Keel Avenue. Very short connection is $375,000. But the motion is before us, and I'm going to be supporting the local councillor. We want to put it back on the screen. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And the item is amended. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, Councillor Cheung, you're going to do a quick release for item 8? Okay, Councillor Cheung is moving item number 8. All right, we're going to continue. Councillor Cheung, you'll continue to hold item 8? Okay, so let's leave that. Councillor Cole, you held item 2, a series of addresses on Marlee Avenue and Romar Crescent. Don't have deputations on it. Is it questions for staff?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, just in terms of this application here, this application is for how many units, how many residential housing units?
Through the chair, there's approximately 886 units being proposed.
So 886. Okay, and so this application here is one of 20 other applications that are in the same Marlee corridor from Eglinton to Lawrence. Is it not part of a multitude of applications?
Through the chair, I would agree with you that there's a multitude of applications. I can't tell you specifically if it's 20 or more or less, but there's a multitude.
There's a new one coming in every day. But I just wanted to ask, we're undertaking the Marlee Glencairn area study to look at the infrastructure needs and requirements for that area, given all the changes that are being proposed. What is the status of that study?
Through the chair, the study is ongoing right now. It's in phase 2, which is staff is preparing options for the different growth scenarios. And the intent is that we will be going out to consult the public on those.
Okay, so we're undertaking a study. Meanwhile, the applications keep coming in. And then I guess back in April, I moved a motion asking that the Minister of Municipal Affairs request that the Ontario Land Tribunal not deal with any of these applications until the study is complete. Right? Have we received a response from that request we made back in April from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs?
So through the chair, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so anyways, what do you think of trying to get a response from him, from our request about some kind of deferral? Is there anything we can do to defer to the next council meeting or something, so at least we can get some time to breathe and get majority of the study done before all these applications are decided at the tribunal? Can we ask for some kind of deferral, trying to get a response from the ministry?
So through the chair, I think certainly you could ask for the deferral. I think what we would obviously have to think about is what is the channel that we would pursue to contact the ministry and get a response, because, you know, at a staff level, we would deal with people at a staff level, but, you know, not at a political level.
Yes, but is it viable that we could at least at this point, I could put forward a motion asking for some time here so that we don't proceed to vote on this item here, and asking for directions. That's just to give us a pause. Can we do that in any way, shape, or form?
So through the chair, I would say if the intent was to give a pause until city council, I think that is fine. I'm also cognizant of the fact that the application has already been appealed by the applicant, and the fact that the OLT will set up their process regardless, so we would need to get direction from council, and I don't want us to be missing that window to get direction from council.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe that's what we'll do, is perhaps just send it to council without recommendation. And then maybe between now and then, we could resend the request to the new Minister of Municipal Affairs, asking for some kind of response to our request. Is that feasible, viable? Do I need a motion, or should I just ask for it to go to council without recommendation?
Through the chair, I believe a motion would be required. And clerks has that available.
Oh, okay, so we've got that. Okay, so that's fine. Thank you very much.
Any other questions of
No,
staff?
that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cole. Any other questions for staff? No. Speakers?
Yes, just want to explain what's going on here. This is a very complex report. So you can see it goes on for about 3 pages with a lot of details, and this is for a significant development of 886 residential units in an area which is right now, it's single-family homes. Yeah, so should I move my motion first? Yeah, I have a motion that I'm going to be speaking to, just to that I be forward to the City Council without recommendation. I'm doing this as a result of the fact is we're just trying to get the Minister of Municipal Affairs to just give us some time to proceed with our study, so we can get some substantiation of the infrastructure needs we require to house not only the 886 new units, residential units coming to this development, but I said there are 20 of these developments in the Marlee corridor between Lawrence and Eglinton. 20, it's about, I can't even keep track. I think it's about 6,000 homes being requested for redevelopment there, or upzoned. And as Councillor Cheung was saying, is that this is a result of the fact you've got this one-size-fits-all policy from the provincial government, which nobody knows about, except planners and developers, it seems, and some councillors, that if you're within 500 to 800 meters of a transit station, there is essentially no limit on density, height, or the number of developments. And so in this area here, we're blessed with the university line, I think it's called Line 2, where we've got the Lawrence West Station, the Glencairn Station, and the Eglinton West Station, and the soon-to-be-open Cedarville Station on the Eglinton LRT Ghost Line. So because of that, the developers have put forth proposals to build these high-rise condo developments at each one of these locations. So therefore, we have these 20 locations in a very congested area. I know earlier we were talking about Bayview, but I really ask you, if you want to see congestion, just one day take a walk. Don't come by car or bus. Take a walk down Marlee Avenue from Lawrence to Eglinton, maybe about 5 o'clock. You won't be able to drive there. You won't be able to take the bus because it is basically like Mumbai there. It's wall-to-wall people from top to bottom with a number of cars, trucks, buses. Therefore, what we're doing is we're at least trying to, staff has been working diligently with a consultant to put forth the Glencairn Marlee study to try and find out, do we need more sewers? Do we need more do we need more schools? Do we need more a community center? There's even concern about the amount of hydroelectric power that might be required in the area. And then the police station is not adequate. We've got a crammed little police station at 13th Division. So if we bring in another 6,000 people, plus the other developments that are occurring, we're going to need more police resources. We're going to need a bigger police station. I mean, so all these infrastructure needs need to be quantified. So we're just saying, please give us some time to at least quantify the infrastructure deficiencies in the area and to have a plan for the area so we can somehow house all these people that are coming and their cars and their dogs and everything. So that's why I'm just going to hope again that we can get the attention of the new Minister of Municipal Affairs to give us a bit of time before we proceed with all these being rubber stamped at the Ontario Provincial Land Tribunal. So that's all, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Any other speakers on the item? Okay, you move staff recommendations? Oh, no, sorry, without recommendation. Okay. Okay, item number 2, series of addresses on Marlee Avenue and 1 to 7 Romar Crescent and Stayner Avenue. Councillor Cole has moved the item to council without recommendation. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next item is a series of addresses on Lawrence Heights Way and Green Gardens Boulevard. Councillor Cole, you held the item down, and I do not have any deputations on the item. Questions for staff?
Yes, please explain this. I mean, I've been at this for a few years. I've never seen something more obscure, complicated, and I don't know how else to describe it, but so technical. What is this all about?
So, through the chair, this is part of the Lawrence Heights Phase 1, several of the blocks that are going forward. And these blocks were originally created through plans of subdivision. But then after the plan of subdivision, the townhouses are being built in this area. And part lot control is essentially being lifted so that we can redefine the lot lines between the various townhouses. There are portions of this area that are also being created to be used as part of the common element condominium down the road in terms of some access areas, easements, walkways, things like that. It's very technical approval because ultimately the units and everything have already been approved through the previous zoning bylaw approvals and the plan of subdivision. This is really just redefining the lot lines.
So redefine it, but wouldn't something like this be done at the beginning of the process of this? I think this development started 10 years ago.
I think through the chair, because these are townhouse units, typically to define the lot lines, you actually need the structures to be built, and so that you actually have accurate lot lines that you can lay down to define each of the individual units. So the buildings are actually in place already.
Yeah, okay, so you have to have the buildings in place before you can do this.
Correct.
Now, I hope people aren't going to get notices again because they've gotten hundreds of notices about all these developments and the changes in where the outdoor plugs are situated. As you know, we've had a flood of notices that have gone to people for committee of adjustment, et cetera, et cetera. I hope we're not going to send out notices to the residents.
Through the chair, not in this situation. Obviously, those notices that have gone out that you're referring to were for minor variance applications where there were deviations away from the approved zoning bylaw.
Okay, so that's all I want to know. No notices.
Not on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Any other questions for staff? Speakers?
I'll move staff recommendations.
Staff recommendations moved. All those in favor? Opposed? No. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Councillor Cheung, you were undecided about item 8? Okay. What are your plans?
I have a motion.
Okay. Do you want to just briefly describe it?
Yes, so this is indeed a intense journey that we have shared with staff, the community, and the applicant. We are grateful for the reduction in height. I know that some community members will be disappointed, but in truth, many of them would just not want an application at this location, which we know is not an option. So this height is lower. We are grateful for the increase in visitor parking, as well as the inclusion of non-residential on the ground floor, which we believe is a strategic location to bring vibrancy that is very close to Hendon Park. And we look forward to the opportunity to explore improvements, if not a total rebuild of Hendon Fieldhouse, which is currently atrophying at our Hendon Park, which is a very well-used park in a high-density area with this abandoned building in our midst. And so we hope that there is a pathway, and one part of being able to get to a rebuild of Hendon Fieldhouse is if the applicant is able to secure an off-site parkland dedication. And we know that that's something that we cannot guarantee at any given point, but we have also in this motion allocated community benefits to add to parkland dedication if necessary in order to secure that land, because what that does is allows us to then apply parkland DCs towards the project of building or ameliorating Hendon Fieldhouse. So there's still many, many pieces of the puzzle that we need to work on, but I believe that with the increase of visitor parking, the retail space, the pathway towards a Hendon Fieldhouse rebuild, as well as the provision of a POPS, which is a small dog area that is going to be provided to many condo dwellers nearby who don't have that available to them. I think that there are several benefits to the community. I understand a lot of community members just don't want development in their neighborhood. And unfortunately, that is not the reality of our city. We're a growing city, and because of the MTSA policies, anything that's 500 to 800 meters radius to a subway station requires density through provincial policy. And so I think we've landed somewhere where there are benefits to the community, and the applicant is an experienced developer in our neighborhood and will also be working with the community on their construction management plan so that the community is apprised of any disruptions they may experience. So I think we have to work collaboratively and not adversarially with growth And at the same time, we must continue to fight for the resources to support infrastructure, because I can tell you that I'm getting constant emails from seniors who have to line up for 1 hour to 1.5 hours in order to go to their fitness class. Our community centers are overprescribed, and we're adding density and more density, but I see no new community center on the horizon. There's nothing guaranteed that's going to be built in the near future, and the health and well-being of our residents is continually being compromised without funding for infrastructure to support growth. So that is a fight that we must continue to amplify. It is not okay to continue to decrease development charges, the removal of Section 37. There's no pathway to support the quality of life of our growing city. So that is a problem we have to all work on together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cheung. Any other speakers on the item? No? So you're moving staff recommendations? Oh, the motion, sorry, the amended motion on the screen. You're amending the staff recommendations. Okay, got it. All those in favor? Opposed? Item is amended. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item number 8. Councillor Cheung, you held the item down. 4800 Yonge Street, encroachment agreement. No deputations. Question for staff?
I have a question. This is not the only sidewalk closure that is on the horizon for this neighborhood. And I'm wondering, why do we allow this? How do we mitigate the impacts of it? Because sidewalk closures at such a busy intersection is quite a significant impact on residents.
Through the chair, sorry, I didn't, can you clarify your question, please?
So the question is, how do we approach sidewalk closures at significant intersections? Why do we allow this, and how do we mitigate the impacts on the community?
With the development at hand, this development here is abutting that corner there, and with the encroachment that they have asked for, the subway tunnel below, this would have to take away the pedestrian sidewalk to be able to construct the tunnel to access the TTC tunnel from the building.
Right, so it's a necessary closure, but what is being done to mitigate the impacts on the community? When we close a sidewalk, what are the considerations to ensure safety? Because I have seen someone dragging their luggage right beside the curb on the road where people turn into that lane. So there's some dangerous things that happen when we close a sidewalk. So how are we protecting pedestrians when these things happen, which we know we can't avoid all sidewalk closures, but how do we make it safer?
Councillor, through the chair, in this particular case, the closure was done at 2 controlled intersections, both at Shepherd and Points off of Yonge. We have put up fencing to protect pedestrians from going down Yonge Street. And on the Shepherd side, the sidewalk itself has been fully closed by signage and barricade. In a case like this, I understand that it is a very busy intersection, volumes of traffic are very high, but because the requirement to remove the hoarding to allow for the tunnel construction, that removed the pedestrian safety, which would require the closure of the sidewalk.
And how long will this closure last?
The closure is going to be in 2 phases, Councillor. It starts in 1 phase as a 30-day closure to allow for removing the enabling works, which adjusts the sewer and the water main to allow for the tunnel. And then there'll be a longer closure for approximately 8 months, coming in a future report.
So this is specific to the closure that's already happening. And when is it slated to complete? So when did the 30-day count begin?
30-day count will start at some point next week. I haven't gotten a final date from the developer on that.
Okay, so it's not actually 30 days total because it's already closed.
Yes.
Okay, so I've heard from some pedestrians that the crossing at points to get to the east side is 7 seconds, which is insufficient for such a large road with so much volume. What can be done to make that safer for people to be able to get across, which we have to do now that the sidewalk is closed?
A request will be made to the Traffic Management Center to adjust the timing of that signal to allow for a longer pedestrian phase.
And how fast can that happen?
I can request that today and hopefully have it done by the end of the week.
Great. And then will that stay until the whole 8 months is done in the next? Because it just seems it would be redundant to change and perhaps an evaluation in the future if it should just be kept that way.
Yes, it will be kept until the
At the very least.
opening of Yonge Street.
So
the whole 8 months.
the whole 8 months. Okay. Okay, great. Those are my questions.
Thank you, Councillor Cheung. Thank you. Any other questions for staff? No? Speakers?
I have a motion.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just requesting the closure, the extension of the crossing signal at points because it is necessary to support this closure and hoping that it can get done this week.
Okay. Any questions for the mover? Okay, on the motion, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And the item is amended. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Item number 12. Changes to Business Improvement Area Board of Management. Councillor Cole, you held the item down.
I just have a motion that I wanted to move. I just wanted to, I didn't get that ready, eh? No. No, anyways, this has been a dormant BIA, and so I'm just going to, basically, I don't have, I was going to just hold it. We got any more items?
No, this is the last item.
Okay. Anyways, I just.
Can you defer it?
Yeah, I want to defer it because I want to find out what's going on with this BIA that seems.
Okay,
one of these-
so why don't we defer that to the next North York Community Council meeting?
Yeah.
All those in favor of deferral? Opposed? That is carried. That was the final item. We'll now do the bills. Okay. Councillor Burnside.
The bills 1158 to 1164, Bill 1166, Bill 1168, Bill 1201, and Bills 1250 to 1254, prepared for the October 21st, 2025 meeting, 27 of the North York Community Council, be declared as bylaws and passed subject to Section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Confirmatory? Okay. Councillor Cole.
Yes, I move that the confirmatory bills to confirm the legislative proceedings of the North York Community Council acting under delegated authority at meeting 27 on October 21st, 2025 be declared as bylaws and passed subject to Section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006. I so move.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cole. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So that concludes our business for today. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, clerk staff. Thank you, public service, and thank you, deputants and members of the public. Enjoy the rest of the day and cheer on the Blue Jays.